I'm gonna roll a joint. You guys want some? Raj? No, Raj. That's pretty good, right? What's going on, everyone? I'm getting ready. Top chat, live chat. Okay. None. Top chat. Some man. Okay. So I want to just invite you to a little adventure I'm going to be going on, and you can kind of go on it with me also. I'm going to be taking in a ritual in maybe about 10-15 minutes. You know, I want to get in the zone. I want to be talking a little bit, and then I'm gonna go into my ritual, which is taking DMT for the first time, and then I'll probably be out for about, I don't know, 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I don't know. And then I'm gonna come back from that state of like unconsciousness, and then I'm gonna be talking about what I experienced, and I believe it's gonna be very powerful if I make that breakthrough that they talk about, which, because I live in a city right now, you know, I live here where it's California City, where it is very, very secretive in terms of, it's a weird history of like entities and, you know, stories of like aliens and, you know, Edwards Air Force Base, and you have like at Edwards you had you know, like Roswell incident, you know, it happened. That's where it was taken. It was taken to Edwards, and the President Eisenhower saw it there, you know, and then it was taken to Area 51, you know. So this is that area, you know. And the guy that created the city, you know, he basically had he had aliens talking to him, telling him that, you know, to build a city, you know. And you know, and the stories like that, you know. For example, Gene Roddenberry and L. Ron Hubbard, they were friends, and they did a ritual in Pasadena, in the desert, you know, in the high desert, in the mountains of Pasadena. It's like back then it was in the deserts in the 20s and 30s, and they did this ritual to invoke energy. And guess what? L. Ron Hubbard became the Scientology guy, you know, the guy that started Scientology, right? And what's his name? And Gene Roddenberry became Gene Roddenberry became Star Trek creator, writer. Okay, how do I read that again? That comment, top chat, live chat. Okay, hi. I just want your thought on this from upbringing and teaching in Islam. Any mind altering substance prohibited haram. What are your beliefs around that? Like mind altering, like, see, that's what I'm saying. Mind altering, sugar is mind altering. You know, everything. I mean, I'm saying is where does it take you in your consciousness? Where does it alter you? Does it alter you positively, or does it take you down in like a lower state of consciousness? That is what the question is. So clearly, alcohol is it takes you to a lower state of consciousness. You know, in terms of, you become on a vibration where, you know, you are susceptible to your lower self invoking energies and kind of possessing you. You know what I mean? So that's why it says like gin makes you sane and tequila does this, and people get into like a rage, you know. And then marijuana, like I'm an advocate of marijuana, you know, like it 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 takes your state to a higher consciousness. But if your consciousness is not developed internally, if you're not developed a strong sense of self, or understanding of, like, you know, letting go of rigid understandings of like yourself and your beliefs that limit you, and then you take marijuana, then it releases that part of you, and then you can easily do your, you know, your creative work or your art. That's why a lot of artists smoke marijuana. A lot of right, a lot of artists, right, a lot of creative people. You know, it's very, very, because it gets you high, meaning high state of consciousness. But if you are egotistically driven and you have a low vibe in terms of like you're held in the flesh, and then you smoke marijuana, then you become just like a goofy kind of like person. But then when you're not smoking marijuana, you go back to that state of consciousness. So it's like, you know, it depends on the person, you know. So that's my take on any mind altering drug. Like, I'm, you know, like tea, chai, you know, caffeine, cigarettes. It's just that, you know, for some reason, cannabis has this big deal about it, but it's like, it's almost like the higher power that be, in terms of like the authority figures, they wanted to stop this people from smoking this, because no matter what, you get high and you feel better, then you stop doing other things that make you feel bad, like alcohol, you know, or cigarettes, you know, not as much, but it's like a different feeling, you know, that like alcohol will, you know, people that are addicted to alcohol, it's destructive, you know, but you can't really be addicted to cannabis, you know. But alcohol is very powerful too, you know. There's a lot of like amazing things that can be done with alcohol, in terms of, if you can build your consciousness strong enough where you can drink alcohol, and then you can get to a state of vibration where you invite these entities, these vibrational kundalini energy feelings that are attached to like lower self, but allow them to be in a higher state. Then that's why like alcohol can be like a little, it's almost like a elixir you take to invite, you know, possession, you know, entity possession, you know. But that's what you're doing. You're taking a substance in that allows your consciousness to raise up, and at that higher state of consciousness, you can invoke certain energies that you wouldn't be able to at that lower state of consciousness without, you know, using, say, cannabis. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, here. This is Blue Dream that I'm smoking. And, oh gosh.
Blanket, clear up your area. Get your blanket ready.
Oh my
Hello.
gosh. Okay. Gosh, man. You're like, who is this fucking guy? He's gonna...
I was looking out for you.
No, you're good. Where's those incense?
The incense you set down by that glass table. Oh, where's the rest?
Yeah.
I don't know where you put the box.
Okay, so, mind me for a few seconds here. I'm gonna be, oh gosh. How do I reply to you? Learn more. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. So I'm gonna do my DMT very soon here. Like I said, it's my first time doing it, and it's not more mind altering. It's more like it's very I don't know how to say it, but I mean, I don't know what to expect. I just did some reading on it, and I've had it for a while, in terms of in my possession, for like maybe a few months, and I just never I never got to the opportunity of taking it. So I'm gonna show it to you what it looks like. So it is like a, so I want to set my whole area like in a certain vibe, you know, because my consciousness goes somewhere, and if the environment is like negative, then it's gonna resemble that, you know. So I made sure, like, see, that's a DMT. It is okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smoke it in a vape. Might have a trip sitter here with me. So here it is. All right. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Supposedly, I'm just gonna kind of go unconscious for a bit, and then maybe if one of you want to just type in, you know, if you can type in for me, so when other people go online, because I'm on my phone, I don't know how to type it in. Just type in. We'll be unconscious for 5 to 20 minutes on DMT trip. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, so. Can I put the volume up on this a little bit?
Yeah.
Cool.
And move the brushes so you have a place to lay down.
No, I'll just sit down like this. I'll just sit down.
Okay.
This is comfortable.
That's comfortable?
Yeah. I'll just put this on. This is a very sacred jacket I got when my daughter was like very young. From Ohio. Same thing with this thing. Okay, so when I'm doing the vape method, wait, let me just drink a little bit of this kombucha. Here you go. Stretching those knots away, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna put the substance, the crystals in here. So my friend can pour it into the sub.
Put it there, I'm gonna put it down.
Okay, okay. This is about 800 milligrams, which they say you need about 40 milligrams, like 40 to 80 milligrams for one one to break through. You know, if you take too little, you can't break through. There's like 3 stages you have to break through. That's why it's like supposedly 3 puffs. So here it is, and okay, you're gonna put it in here. So okay, careful. Can someone type it in, please, that I'm going to be going on a trip for about 5 to 20 minutes. And when I'm coming back, I'm going to just kind of talk about what I saw. And like I said, I'm in this California city. Maybe in this time, you can take that city, California city, and do some research on it. You know? I mean, that's up to you. You know, I popped into your feed. So you're watching me for a reason. All right. Okay. The torch?
Lighter?
I don't have. Oh, lighter right here. Oh, you can use the lighter? Okay. Not the torch?
Yeah, because
Okay.
it's slow. Do you want this visible here? Or not?
What visible?
On screen or not?
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be visible?
Yeah, it's gonna be visible. So I'm not gonna hold the pipe because I'm gonna go limp. You know? So what they say is I gotta take one breath, hold it in for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you know, and then let it out or swallow it, and then, you know, and then take the second breath. That's when it's gonna be like distorting the reality. And then the third breath, I have to take that third breath to break through.
Okay.
Okay?
Do you mind if I put this box here?
Yeah, do it. It's live culture. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. Okay, you hold it. You hold this, and then I'm gonna let go. Okay. Now, tell me when.
That's it? Yeah, now.
It's gonna do more. More.
Air has to come in from there.
Or more. More. It's gonna happen. It's supposed to happen. It's supposed to. What's the name again?
The great magician and Kabbalist Solomon, son of David.
Yeah. Where am I? You smell that? Ah! Wow. Am I still, what time is it?
12:29.
Wait, I can see this stuff. Oh, I gotta hold on to that consciousness. Oh, shoot. hold on to that thought. You know what this is? Oh, don't listen to me. Whoa. Guys, you're supposed to like throw up, you know, don't get scared.
I put that bucket there, that basket, the trash can.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you just see it all wrong. Wow, this stuff is. It's like Legos and things. Okay. Well. Okay. Okay. How long has it been since I started?
5 minutes.
What I'm looking at is a bunch of symbols. Kind of crazy, right?
That's cool.
Oh gosh. Wait, I didn't mean anything. You are the person.
See what?
I gotta look outside. It's like a Lego world. Wait. I can look in the mirror, but the mirror is this. This is the mirror.
Yeah.
I think I talked about that, right? Wait, I think there's better to do this. Okay. I don't know. I don't think it would, move. It's kind of cold. Right? I saw Legos.
Like Lego bricks.
Like Legos. You know, like things were pulsating out. It was like a Lego kind of reality. But it's almost like wait, let me think. If I can try to meditate into that. Hmm. I don't know, man. This is like, I heard people talking about seeing aliens and this and that. What I just saw was like, wait, it's like that just shifted into like a person, like, you know, and it hid back into the form of like an alien or of a fan. You know, it's like kind of weird how what are aliens, right? Aliens just are like, why can't this be an alien? Because it has a matter, it has a certain shape, right? Doesn't it have this has a certain shape, and you can put your consciousness in that shape form where that vessel with that shape is used for certain things. you know. And then when you're smoking it, you're getting high, right, off a substance, right, tobacco or whatever, cannabis, and that becomes the vessel of that alien to intake into you, and kind of change your form, right, where you can be that, you can become the entity of like where that vessel can kind of get consciousness through your form. You know what I'm saying? Be careful, it's not gonna fall or not, right?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Staying close by.
I'll take my foot away from here. It's kind of cold, right?
Yep.
So what I felt was like death, decay. That's the world I was in. It was decay. And everything was decaying around me, you know? It's almost like, but it's a good thing because if you don't have decay, then yeah, decay is nasty and it's gross, but it's like you have to have the decay in order for the next stage of evolution of life to come in,
Phoenix.
you know? So decay can also mean like that like burning, you know, that starts to, the smoke starting to happen before the fire, you know, where the smoke, the little flame gets bigger and bigger, you know, the little ember of redness. Is there anything left in that?
Yeah, I was just about to ask you. You want to try it? There's a little bit
Gosh,
left in
yeah, fine. Let me have some water though. Would it be cool if I get some water?
Yes.
I don't know, I'm just asking a lot. It's almost because like I didn't eat anything, and it's really pungent smell of that. It has a really pungent taste to it, you know. It's like a little, like a moldy, like fleshy kind of.
Bitter taste?
It's almost like you're vaporizing the taste of death. Imagine, you know what it is? It's like, it's literally you're vaporizing that molecule of death. So like the molecule of death that comes inside before you die, it has a certain molecule, and this is what that is. But you're not dying physically, you know, you're just dying spiritually, like to the ego, you know? Because reality melts. And your fear, like everything happens, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, just if there's one too. It tastes nasty. Yeah. Right? Oh, there it is. It was right in front of us. Maybe I should have that music on. Where's that phone? Okay, forget it. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Feels like forever, huh? Okay. Okay, you know what? Okay.
Prayer calls upon many important ways of God in order to call for assistance, guidance, and protection. In order to understand this prayer, one must study Kabbalah. In order to actualize this prayer, one must be an authentic Kabbalist. That is, one must be aspiring cognizant, conscious experience of the Sephiroth in himself.
needs that.
You need a little more. Okay, go for it.
Is Lily still here?
Yeah.
She's
Upstairs.
upstairs.
Upstairs, yeah.
Okay. Wow. I don't really see anything except patterns of like a lot of hexagons, a lot of star of like it's almost like a very is there a person that doesn't look like? Maybe because I almost like live in that state all the time. You know what I mean? That what what would be normal to it's almost like my normal is like very fringe to most people because their normal is like inside the bubble, you know, inside the core of like
What they're using.
not for the fringes, not in that fringes of reality, but normal. See, you know, makes sense. That it's almost like a metallic taste to it. Like I said, it's like death. It's almost like we're in the waiting room, dude. It's like there's no waiting room. The waiting room, this is the freaking waiting room. Earth is the waiting room to the other side. And life is nothing but death, you know? Of certain deaths. You have to have deaths of like certain parts of you to move on to the next you. Like now, for me, my message is clear. Like I had death, like death is been a part of me for a long time, you know? But it's like you can't just be feared of, you know, full of death in any way at all. Right? Like death is the illusion because death means that you lose something and the ego fears it. Because even if a family member dies, it's like you are sad because the part of you lost something that they gave you. Maybe they give you a sense of stability or they give you a sense of, you know what I mean? A sense of lineage, you know? But if it doesn't matter because they died, they just went to a new transition. But what the thing is, they're not dead. They're actually inside your consciousness the whole time, you know? And they can be more powerful at their death. That's why, like in Star Trek or Star Wars, right? Where Star Wars, where Obi-Wan Kenobi was
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah, right. He was about to get killed by Darth Vader, right? In front of Skywalker, and like he says, "Okay, in my death, I'll be like stronger." And then he died, and then like he was stronger in his death. And it's kind of the same thing as your parents or like anybody that dies that touched something in you, you know? Because say, for example, like for me, I had a cousin that died when I was 14, 15 years old, and he died at age like 18 or 19. No, he died at age 21. And age 19, okay? And I looked up to him. He was like, he made an impression on me because I'd never had any, like, in my growing up, there's no, like, a role model for, like, an Indian person that had a cool cousin, you know what I mean? It wasn't seen. Bollywood was not cool, you know? I mean, it was cool, it was good to watch, but you don't watch it and show your friends that because it'd be, like, weird, you know? What the hell is Bollywood, you know? It's like me as a Nigerian, like 5 years ago, trying to go do what's cool in Gnarlywood, you know, in like New York. But anyways, the point is, when I went met my friend in New York City, in Queens, New York, we went to World Trade Center. We hung out there. He took me out around everywhere, you know, and he was like a cousin, second cousin, and he, like that following year, I met him a few times a year, every year, and in 2006 or something, he died in a car accident, you know, in a car. Ultimately, I guess, you know, I like that car. It's a C300. Back in the day, you know, this is like 90, 98, 90, maybe 95, you know. And I remember going, like my dad telling me, and I said I want to go to the funeral, and he's like, and I was like, no, I want to go, and this and that, and I ended up going with my dad, and we were in Michigan at the time, and he took me to the funeral, and it was like a closed casket, like all there was like eyeball, showing, and like that's it, eyeball and like a white thing all around. So that's like initiation for me, as initiation into like death, and that's what I saw in that trip. I saw a lot of death and decay. It's like, you know what? That's normal. Everything all around you is dying in some sense. It's just that stink of that death gonna take, is it gonna like deter you from doing what's next? Right? Does it make sense? Because that smell is just for the ego. The ego is attached to smell and taste and how it feels. Like even inhaling that, it was really, ugh. But it's like, what part of me is saying ugh, It's a part of me that's not, that links that taste to some receptors and, it's like, it's unknown, But it's like, we're ultimately afraid of the unknown because of death. Because we've been inbred, we've been like, told that death is like the ultimate worst thing that can happen to you. So if everything is the fear of death, then even the fear of change is actually ultimately the fear of death. Isn't change? Change is like, it's death of that old form. It's almost like I had to like, something was telling me to release everything. Like release, like even your bowels, like release it. Like, and it's like, because when you hold on to your own shit for too long, it's like it's gonna affect your internal. So like the old thoughts are like shit too, They're good for at a certain point, like food. You use up the nutrients of the food, but then you gotta shit out the fiber. That's just natural. The fiber is of like the fiber, fiber is in the word, right? Fiber is from like the fibers of like the husk and all those things. But in a society, we eat less and less fiber, And what's happening is that other energy, it gets stored into fat, and you start gaining more and more weight. And it's like maybe the reason why I didn't see entities is because I understand ultimately there's entities all around us through people, So you think that's your freaking friend, but that's actually entity living through your friend because he's been possessed by certain energies all his life. That's what it is. I don't have to see a freaking gray, I've seen one before this DMT trip. Like what I saw was more of like the same, More the same. Because if I expected to see aliens and this and that, then it's almost like when you die, you get greeted by certain things, and then it's like you go back into like a certain like a loop, But ultimately, it's not a group of things that are gonna meet you. It's oneness. You know what I mean? Anything that's not oneness is part of the illusion to keep you in a state of separation. That it's not just one. It's these things. And then no, it's like there's just energies. There's no multiple things. Like you think heaven is just it's unity consciousness. When it's unity, then it's all it is death happening all the time, because you can't have creation without death. And death is also looked at as dark. But if you're afraid of death, then ultimately when your soul goes in the darkness of the oneness, because ultimately it's all darkness is oneness, because all darkness is all the lights combined. So when you look in the sky, you're not seeing you're seeing a dark sky and you think there's no light there, but it's all the lights. And then there's few lights coming through, which are known as stars and whatnot, you know? But it's not lighting up the whole, it's not like the sun, you know? So it's like, everything, life is just a series of deaths. So how are you gonna have your death? Looking at it as loss? If you're looking at it as loss and you're trapping that same stench into your present. That's what I learned. That was pretty crazy. You know, I'm gonna do this again. I saw a lot of Legos, you know? Like in a Lego world. Like your face turned into like Legos. And then, you know what that seems like? That's like we live in kind of sense of a Lego world where it's like put together in a structured form, you know? But it's almost like the Lego was like perfect, you know? It wasn't like, when I looked at myself in the Lego form, I lost weight in it, and it was like the perfect version of me. And like when I looked around, things became in the actual structured form, but the way the ego looks at it, it changes that to perceive what it views as reality. Does that make sense? Hey, anybody out there? So where are you from, whoever's watching? So that was, I don't know if I can do it again, because that was really nasty, to be honest with you. Maybe it was like I don't know. I don't know if I can do it again. And like I said, I didn't need to see entities, you know? I didn't need to see entities. I didn't need to see anything. I've seen them before in terms of energy, in terms of frequency, in terms of looking past the illusion of facade, you know? The illusion of thinking in terms of like what I've been told. Maybe because I've been living that kind of lifestyle for so long, I didn't really see entities. You get what I'm saying? But it was almost like so nasty. It was gagging, you know? Is there a war? If there's a war within you, then there's a war. You know? If you think there's a war, then, you know, if there's wars in you, you will find wars out there to tell you about wars, you know? Because there's always things happening all the time. They never stopped. It's your perception of it, your focus on it. It'll keep you in that. Now you can understand war, you can understand turmoil, and then see like a solution to it and capitalize not on people of like, oh, because they're hurt and I want to capitalize and then sell them toilet paper. No, I'm talking about like you now this is a ripe opportunity for you to put your idea out there. Maybe in the old reality, there's a conjunction going on, Saturn and Jupiter. They're conjunct, they're together as one star. In fact, I'm gonna look in my phone and look at where it is in the sky. And that's why I didn't see it. You know, because I see it in everything. I see the aliens in everything. And all I see is people living in their lower fears. They're seeking of like validation so they get certain clothing, or they talk about certain you know, how to get wealthy, and this purse. There's a lot of people on TikTok, because I've been on TikTok now, and there's a lot of people on TikTok that talk about that kind of stuff where, you're gonna stay poor, but then you see them, they're trying to look a certain way that they think is beautiful, because they ultimately don't. Yeah, they have money, but they don't have that inner, like, ultimate, unconditional kind of surrender and love for themselves. That's why they need things that give them status. There's nothing wrong with money. It really isn't. In fact, I believe in, like, having money. It's just, that's energy to me. It's having energy and then not hoarding the energy. See, it's hoarding money is bad, right? And it's hoarding your energy, hoarding your ideas, hoarding your, like, suppressing your creative ability. That's a sin. That, to me, that's a sin. But it's sin on yourself, and you'll punish yourself for that also. So I have an app. It's called Star View Lite. It's a free version. Oh gosh. It's almost like a feeling of being, like, drunk before you throw up, but you're not drunk. See, that's what's so weird. It's like almost like a hangover, but you didn't drink, and you don't feel the states of, like, uncontrolled. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the Star View app. I can see, like, the different stars. So this is this camera here pointing. So I'm gonna look at so Saturn and Jupiter are gonna be in the same place. Oh wow, yeah. Wow, here it is. Going into in Sagittarius, going into no, in Capricorn. Oh wait. Oh wow, look here. Here it is. I'm gonna take a picture of it. Okay, here you go. Okay. Safety photos. Bam. Okay, safety photos. I think I'm gonna be more weird from now on. Not like in a weird way. Does that make sense? Just in a eccentric way, I guess. Here you go. So that's Saturn and Jupiter, like, together, aligned. Yeah. I mean, it's just energy, right? And if you see all the planets, they're aligned in terms of, like, the moon, and then Saturn, Jupiter, and then you have the sun, and then you have Venus. They're all kind of, like, in one line. Yeah, right there. And then you have Mars. Because this is the free version, so it's not going to show you Pluto and Neptune and all those planets. Oh, behind the sun is Mercury. So there you go, the 7 planets aligned in a straight, like, a line, and then Jupiter is together with and then right now, at this time, because the sun moves, right, it's together with Mercury, and Mars is, no, Venus, Mars. Where's Mars? Yeah. So for me, it's like these planets are in your chart. That's why it's really important to see your Vedic astrological reading, meaning your reading of your higher self, of what energies were attached to it, what archetypes. So Venus is like beauty, Mars is your thinking capabilities, like the fire energy. The moon is like your emotions, emotional state. The Mercury is like your intellect, Quicksilver. um, Jupiter is your expansion, you know, your expansive state, you know, the guru, the giver, you know, the biggest planet. And then Saturn is like the structure, the hexagon, the carbon base, where we're in the carbon base structure. So we're bound to that in the flesh, you know? And that's a hexagon, 666, 6 electrons, proton, neutrons. And the thing is, you're in it, but you're not from it. You know, you could be in it and you're not from it, but where you go where you're from in the higher dimensions, and then you go back in it, and it's like you're doing it together, you know. And it's like, so when you're in it, you can liberate yourself up at a higher wavelength in that shit, because everything, like I said, is all death. It's all suffering and death. That's what it felt like. That Nirvana experience, like it's all nasty, man. This is like, it's nothing you want to keep here. So why do you want to fucking attach yourself to shit and decay? That's what I got out of the experience. It's not more of like a, I want to see entities. It's more like a, hey, why do you want to attach yourself to death itself? That is attaching yourself to the illusion. Because this is, you live to die. That's it. Life is death. But the thing is, you don't, yes, you can have that higher understanding and reflect you can live at a higher, better rate of death, so you die better. Ultimately, you're going to die better if you have a better, you know, understanding. Yeah, exactly. And it's like you're dead right now, but people aren't dead. They're in different states of hell. You know what I mean? They're in different states of hell, and then when they die, you know, because they've been taught in their religion, like they're going to be in hell for, say, 1,000 years, right? Say you get judgment and you are going to go to hell for 1,000 years. What does that mean in infinity? And then say 1,000 years later, you climb out of hell. Isn't the first layer of hell, the deepest layer of hell, say year 1 of year 9,999, day 1? Is it going to be the same vibration, frequency, and hellness as the last day of hell? You know what I mean? Does it make sense to you? Like, of course, it's going to be like easier, right? So it's like it gets better, you get to, but ultimately, to be in the flesh is to be in a state of decay, which is like a certain place in hell, but you can live in heaven, because certain places where you go, it can be like a sanctuary for you, you know, where you can detach, you know, and then ultimately you can be led by the higher self, and the lower self, which is in this death, is just a vessel, you know, and the vessel, the more capable it is, you know, the more it can traverse different parts of the illusion, you know. Yeah, it's like perpetuary, yeah. Some people are in perpetuary too, you know, like not doing anything, kind of like staying secure, you know, that's perpetuary, because you're like, you still fear death, but it's like, it's nothing. There's no emotion, you have money, you know, you don't care, you know, it's like, that's death too, you know, it's like you have no emotion. But that's what perpetuary feels like, you know, and maybe this is like perpetuary, because the people that died before, they're in perpetuary in your mind, you know, and they feel like they're flying around the throne of God, you know, when people think of them, invoking that energy. So if I think of certain people, you know, good, and I allow that thought to permeate my frequency, then it's almost like raising them up from their perpetuary state to have more energy tied to their consciousness, you know, therefore helping them in their, whatever they're at, you know, allowing them to go into heaven or whatnot, you know. But ultimately, why even get into this? You know, how is it going to help you make money? You know, that's what I got into this stuff, to make money, right? But it's like, if you really understand yourself and see things in the true way, then you can really shape the energy of it, and what energy it gives off, and who it reaches because of that energy that it's emitting. Because we all live in like an energy thing. So if it's a high vibration energy, and it's gonna be a higher light that's gonna be attached to that, and there's a science to that, you know, symbolism and geometry and certain colors and certain patterns, and put into like natural things into, like, I'm a marketer, you know, that's what I do. I market cannabis. I market cannabis, marijuana, you know? And it's like, how? It's like cannabis is an entity, you know? But it can be in different brands, you know? So if I have a brand that, a lot of other cannabis brands, like I'm about the pure energy, so it's like, I'm not, it's, so I don't want to tie it to like girls smoking out in bikinis. You know, I'm against, like, there's a lot of girls that, hey, can I rep your brand? I'll be sitting here and I have this many followers. Like, something said I don't want to do that, you know, because I don't want to just, but then later on, what happened was, like, because I stood fast to the belief of, like, I'm not going to give it to like the one that is trying to sell her sexuality and tying it to the brand, and then some guy's gonna like the picture. They're not gonna like the product. They're just gonna like you because of your sexuality, you know. But you can have both the beauty and the energy of, like, hey, this is really authentic and this is what I feel. That takes more energy to even produce a video like that, because ultimately you're not putting all the intention on your sexual nature, you know. But you're not. I'm not saying you hide your sexual nature and your beauty, but it's like they're putting the focus on, like, the authenticity of the product and the truth, and it like flows through them, and it's like, that's the people that I want to represent. You know, that's the people I want to um, rep the products. You know, it's their authenticity of their commitment to cannabis. You know, how to, you know, what it does for them, their state of mind. Does it take them to a higher state of being, where at that higher state of, at that high, they can take their ideas and get the structure in a higher form, in a high state, and then in the lower state of reality and living day to day, and, you know, breathing the air and needing to eat and take a shit and taking a piss. That's the humanity aspect. That's the physical, fleshly aspect. You know, you have to take care of that too, you know? But then it's like, you don't put the responsibility of creation to that lower aspect of yourself. You know, all their job is to eat properly, you know, nourish the body, and that has to come. The order has to come from the higher self, because if the lower self was in doing all the work and all the decision making, then it would be eating candy all the time and, like, being depressed and watching, you know, it'd be digging its hole in a hole, because it's tied to it's the feeling state the food invokes, or the person next to them invokes, or what energy they give them. So it's like, you have to you really have to the ego self, the physical self, the labels you have attached onto yourself, that is the ego. That is the ego. It doesn't mean you kill the ego. The ego, thus far, has been the driver of your life. Now you have to you have to swallow the pride and let the ego be in the back seat and do the work, the spiritual work, to raise that energy up and to mold the ego into the formation that the higher self gives it. Wow. I must definitely do it again. But, you know, I like I said, I've had a Kundalini experience, and I saw an entity before, and I never was on any drugs, and I was in extreme pain, and I saw, like, a shadowy, like, figure, like, very muscular but shadowy and skinny, like, standing at the foot of my bed, trying to jump into my navel, and it was like we're having a conversation, but it was all in my mind, and I wasn't, like, in pain because I'd hurt my lower back, like my sciatica, like I had a bad nerve pinch, and I was, like, crying, and I didn't want to take any medicine, and I was taking haldi and turmeric, and it was and then I just kind of like made a force field, and like I was talking to this thing, and it's like, no, you can't come in, and then I just couldn't stop anymore, and then what it did was just, it came into my belly button. It just like, it's like a swimmer, you know, like it just dove in. I just couldn't not bear the pain. I gave into the pain, and I almost like fainted from the pain, you know, like, and I fell asleep, and then I woke up the next like hours later, and I was sweat, like drenched in sweat, so much that like everything was like sweaty, and I felt a little better where I can get up, and like I went to the chiropractor, and then like somehow I got in really easily, and just right there, like I was like 90% better, and I was like, wow, it's like, okay. But then I had to confront that experience I had, and I had to really think about it, and I was like, okay, you know what? I've been reading about this. This is the jinn, but it's like it's not a bad thing. It's a reptilian mind. It's the reptilian part of you that you have to allow to express itself, but not to run your life. The reptilian part of you is the one that sees the sun, you know, that has the body, that has the the skin, and this. It's terrestrial. It's a freaking earthly dunya matrix in the matrix. It only exists in the matrix, because wherever I went to in the decay, because I saw the illusion, it melted in terms of it was all decay. And past the decay, when it was all decaying, past of it was just darkness, you know? But darkness was all the light. And I've been in that darkness before. I remember going to it, doing a meditation, and it was like my body went up in the air, but I didn't do any drugs or anything. And it was like I was in a crystal, a dark black crystal. That's it. Dark crystal. I was in a dark crystal, and every thought was all like, you didn't like, oh, I want a Lamborghini. It's like, no, you have all things, all feelings, all the time. So it's like oneness, complete oneness. And in this experience, I just saw decay. That's it. Like literally everything was just dying away. Like my hand was like shriveling into like nothing. My friend's hand was shriveling. His face was shriveling into a skeleton. And everything was just decaying. Because this is that realm. But in that decayness, what comes in its place? That's up to you. And your idea and your consciousness and your vibration, what you live for and what you cling on to, and you know what you express and how you express things. I mean, I don't want to live in that decay, you know? Like, yeah, I'm in the decay, but doesn't mean I have to live in it in the sense of the reptilian part of me live in it. It's almost like the reptile, you know, leaving its state of reptilianness, you know, of animalness, and kind of evolving into like a upright being, and then becoming like a human. And it's like the spirit is the Anunnaki, and like the body is like the monkey, you know what I mean? The primitive, you know? Like the spirit is the divine, and the body is just like this gross reflection of where, you know, it's like this illusion, you know? Does anybody getting this? I know it's been like 74 minutes. But you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna write this until I can't. You know, there's a lot of like this should be interactive, you know. So, you know, don't be shy. Don't be bashful. You know, I'm not the kind of person that like makes people feel bad, you know, for expressing their belief if it's different than mine. You know, I'm not, you know, like you have your belief, I don't care. You know, it's like it doesn't. I look at it and it's like, wow, that's a good way of perspective, and I can use that perspective to, you know, manifest this or create this. Then I'll use it, you know. But ultimately, things that come from like fear, things that come from like, oh, here it is, galactic war. Hey, I see this. Hey, have a good trip. How's the DMT trip happening? What's meant great conjunction to you? Is this a war, a galactic war? Do you see the awakening? Are you possibly dead? Light check. We're on purgatory. We're probably dead right now. Are you seeing the awakening? Do you see the awakening? The awakening is not something you see. The awakening is something you are. You know, you are the freaking awakening. If you're not awake, then there's no awakening. It's just more delusion. You know. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and I'm gonna conclude this trip.